I mean, I would have loved to have been catching big reds out there, but I get to fish all the time, and this was something new for me, and so it was just the experience. I didn't have to have that giant red to walk away with not having a good experience. I was going to have a good experience no matter what.
Welcome to the Woman Angler and Adventurer Podcast, inspiring real women with a passion for fishing and the outdoors to go get their adventure on. Now, here's your host, coming to you from the Lance Chuck Camper Mobile Podcast Studio, Master Captain Angie Scott.
All right, everyone, welcome to this week's episode of the Woman Angler and Adventurer Podcast. I have a special guest on with me this week, Prater. Mo, welcome to the show.
Thank you. Thank you guys for having me.
Yeah, it's been a while. We first met at the Academy Women's Fishing Retreat. When was that now? Gosh, that was...
wasn't that in February?
Yeah, February. So we're already like mid-April. So yeah.
It's been a couple months.
Yep. So we got to meet at that event, and I kind of wanted to start off just by getting your perspective on that. What did you think? I mean, it was a pretty special time, I think.
I thought so. I thought it was amazing. I had no idea what to expect. I knew that it was going to be a big group of girls, and we were going to go fishing. That's all I had going into it. And then when I got there, and, of course, Academy, they do everything above and beyond. They had the pamphlets, they had everybody's bios. It made it real easy to get to know each and every one of you guys. And then just meeting everybody and everybody that was there, I was just saying to you that it was just so easy and natural. Like, all of us had all different backgrounds, all different types of careers, but yet we all had things in common and stuff we could all talk about. And I thought that was pretty awesome. It was very effortless and just natural.
Yeah, I agree. And I think if you guys listening haven't seen the little video clip that Lauren put together, that really kind of captured the feel of the event, I thought, very well.
It did. I mean, we didn't even have to have alcohol to have a good time.
Right.
We were laughing from 7 a.m. in the morning till 10 o'clock when we went to bed. It was a good time all around, and so many different life stories that I got to know. And that's what I love about this industry, is there's all walks of people in this industry and that love the sport of fishing, and you get to meet so many cool people, and I love that.
Yeah, we were just talking about that actually last night. We had a Women's World of Fishing Monday Night Takeover live show on YouTube with a high school angler that her and her team partner just won. They were the first all-girl team to win in their division for bass fishing. And,
I love that.
Yeah, it was really cool. But, that was one topic that came up, is just the relationships, the people you meet in the sport. It's just something special, and people begin to feel like family, so
100%.
Yeah. So how did you get into fishing?
Well, let's take this back a little bit. After, I grew up playing sports my whole life, and my dad wasn't a big fisherman. Poor guy, he had to work, a lot of my high school career. I just remember him working. But I spent my weekends playing sports, and there was just never really much time to do any fishing. So it wasn't till after college, and you have all this free time, you have a job, and I had a man in my life who was like, we're going fishing, he took me fishing. He really showed me what fishing could be and how fun it could be if you knew what you were doing and you knew where to throw your lure and your bait. Right. Just little things that I had not even thought of. And I'm a competitive person to begin with, so of course I was loving the competitive side of fishing. Even though it wasn't like I was playing across the net from another player, it was like that fish was the player, and I'm, but so he really got me into that, started taking me to Brushy Creek in Austin, and we were creek hopping and bass fishing. And I started out conventional fishing and really, really enjoyed conventional fishing, and finally felt like I had figured it out, and really felt confident. And then we started fly fishing, and going after different species and after trout. And eventually that stuck and just became our thing. But I have to thank my husband. We've now been together for going on 9 years, and we have just created a life of fishing. That's what we love to do together, and that's what we've made our life.
That's great. So talk about what you guys do now. So your husband's Trey, right?
Yes, my
Yeah.
husband's Trey, and we live in Oklahoma now. We live up here in Broken Bow. We guide for Beaver's Bend Fly Shop. It's a year-round fly fishing outfitter in Broken Bow, Oklahoma, located on the banks of the Lower Mountain Fork River. So we are constantly teaching people how to fly fish. Whether you're a beginner or you're seasoned, we will take anybody out, and it's pretty unique. We get to fish for them all year round, being this far south. They do stock the river, which is nice, but people do keep, catch and keep it. There's no catch and release zones. So, but that they do naturally reproduce as well, which is so unique. And so I think anybody that has been our way, which I don't know, have you ever been to Broken Bow?
I have not.
Okay.
No.
You would be surprised with the landscape. I bet you if I dropped you in the middle of Spillway Creek with a blindfold on and took it off, you would not believe that you were in Oklahoma. So
nice.
So that's what we're doing now, and we love that. We do that full time, and it keeps us occupied and on the water, and it's so cool because you never step into the same office twice. It's been a lot of fun.
Very cool. So I read the Lower Mountain Fork River can be pretty technical. Can you talk a little bit about that?
Yes, you'd have to, this place is a big tourist attraction. So these fish get fished for pretty hard. They get fished for by the bait fishermen. There's tons of different types of bait thrown at these trout, different types of flies. So they can be picky. Of course, when we get a fresh load of stocked fish, they're pretty dumb.
Yeah.
But the holdover fish that we call them holdovers because of the major flood we had, but those fish can be pretty tricky, and the flood that we had created new structure and stuff in our river that can make it more technical. So it's just to someone who is maybe new to the sport, they might walk up to the river and be intimidated by the fast runs, the really rapid water, the big boulders, the deep holes. They might walk up and be like, oh my gosh, I would not know even how to approach this. It's moving so fast. Like, what would I even do? So in that way, it can be very technical, and you definitely need to know what you're doing out there if you want to catch a good one. So.
Yeah, so it helps I always encourage people, if you have the means, to hire a guide, and, really, it's such a good education that it just shortens the learning curve. I mean, if you're just going 100%. Out there by yourself,
Yeah, for sure. I mean, not only are they going to teach you, techniques, but you're going to learn spots on the river, that fish like to hold. They're not going to take you to spots that, the fish aren't going to be in. So, you get to learn spots, you get to learn techniques. And if you don't have the means to hire a guide, don't be afraid to go into, your local bait store or your local fly shop and ask questions. You might be able to catch a guide there in the shop, and they might be willing to give you some free knowledge.
Right. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. So Beaver's Bend Fly Shop. I'll put a link to that in the show notes for this episode.
Awesome.
Yeah. And how did you get connected with Academy?
So, oh my goodness, this is also, it's kind of funny how it all ties in together. Two companies tie into one. Well, actually three. So there's a guy named Robert Field. You probably know who he is. He's a kayak angler. He fishes all over the world, and he's got a pretty well-known YouTube channel. His videos are awesome. But anyways, he had been following my husband and I on social media, and was like, hey, I'm working with this company called NRS, and we're doing a photo shoot in Austin, and we need, some good fishermen, and you guys would be great. So, Trey and I were like, well, we've never really modeled before, but hey, this is a fishing modeling gig. Like, we're down. So,
yeah.
So we got to do a photo shoot with NRS, and the production company was actually Rockhouse Motion. So Rockhouse Motion is a really well-known production company. They're awesome photographers. That whole group of people, it's a solid crew. Anyways, long story short, Rockhouse Motion had been reached out to by Academy to do a photo shoot, and they needed a female angler who could cast a bait caster. And they had done that photo shoot with me, and they had seen that I could throw the bait caster. And so they were nice enough to reach out to me and ask me to be a part of that photo shoot with Academy. And so that was my first introduction with Academy.
Gotcha.
And it's just been like nothing but awesome things since then. Academy's just been really great to me.
Good.
So
that's great. Tell us a little bit about NRS Fishing. What do they do?
So Northwest River Supply, they are a company based in Idaho, and they make all sorts of things. They're really known for their PFDs and their rafts and their straps, and it's a solid company. They love fishing, all types of fishing. Their gear is solid. Great sun protection. That's kind of big in my industry, and quality goods, and they're stylish too. I mean, who doesn't want to look good out there on the water? So we've been working with them for the past 2.5 years, and they've been a great company to us. And we actually just did a shoot up here for one of their rafts, the Outlaws, and so it's just been fun. It's interesting where this fishing life has taken us.
Yeah, sounds like it. Well, one thing we didn't touch on when we talked about the Academy event, you just talked about looking stylish, but the Magellan Pro line, what'd you think about that stuff?
Magellan Pro, I love that line. They have stepped their game up. I love all the little hidden features that they have, that some people wouldn't even know about. Like if you're not a fisherman, you would see the shirt and be like, oh, that's cute, I'll wear it. But if you're an angler, you would be like, oh my gosh, that's nifty. Didn't know they had that.
Yeah.
So yeah, I love the Magellan Pro, and I'm glad that they are expanding that for the females, like it's not just the Magellan men line, it's the female side too, and I love to see that.
Yeah, much needed. I was really impressed with the fit of the clothes, and I wear mine all the time, even if it's just I'm not going fishing, it's just a regular day, because I mean,
same, same, me too. I love that they provide all different styles, not one Magellan. They have different fits of, for different body styles. All of us are all different. We need different things, and that's what I love about Academy too, is they are expanding that.
Yes, and it's not like all just pink, like frou-frou stuff. It's like actual, stylish stuff.
I think that's important too, and don't get me wrong, I love pink and I love purple and I love those colors. I enjoy those colors, but when I'm out there fishing, it's different. I'm not trying to let the fish know, hey, I'm here.
Right.
Right. I'm trying to blend in with nature and kind of be more neutral. And so I love to see some more neutral tones that they've added to the female lines as well, because I think that's important. Not all girls love pink and purple, some of us like green and blue.
Right. So I don't get to feature fly anglers very often on the show. I'm a conventional angler myself, so that's just kind of where I tend to gravitate to. But I always like to ask fly anglers, like, especially if you started off, you mentioned fishing conventionally in the beginning. What was that transition like for you? Like, did you have to put the conventional gear down and just focus on fly to get that technique down, or what was that process
I started fishing for trout up here with my conventional stuff, and my husband was the one who was like, I gotta get into this fly game. He wanted to see what it was all about, and I'm like, hey, I just figured this whole conventional game out, man. Like I'm confident in this. But seeing him out there and watching him learn and teach himself, and the frustration, but then the reward of he was out fishing me, and I'm thinking, okay, there's something he's doing that's, working better for him. And so at some point I did set the conventional down, and I really stuck to the fly fishing. And I think it really clicked was when I was shadowing on a trip with my husband. This was before I was guiding. I had to work in the fly shop, and I was able to go shadow on trips to learn. And I saw these little kids catching trout on the fly rod and, making it look easy. And I'm thinking, okay, if these kids can do it, I can do it. And so I wanted to add another weapon to my arsenal, if you want to say.
Mm-hmm.
I wanted to be able to throw whichever rod was thrown at me or whatever was thrown at me. And but the fly rod is just stuck. It's become I don't know, part of me, I guess. But I still love to go out there with my conventional stuff and, throw some wacky worms or a whopper plopper, So
speaking my language now.
Right. What I don't like, though, transitioning to the fly fishing world, which I know that there was cliques in the bass fishing world.
Mm-hmm.
There's cliques everywhere you go, but I really do believe that there is that clique, or that, I don't know, that line between, it's like the fly fisherman versus the bait fisherman. It's like the bait fishermen think that the fly fishermen are, rich and snobby and all better than everybody else,
Mm-hmm.
when it's like, we're all just trying to catch fish. And if everybody could just get along, and no matter how you catch the fish, I just think it's like, you're out there doing it. It's not how you're doing it, just because I catch it on a fly and you catch it on power bait, I'm not going to like make you feel guilty because you caught it on power bait. But I see a lot of that happen within the industry itself, and I don't like that. I don't like that.
I've said this on the show probably half dozen times now, but one of my favorite quotes is from Jen Ripple, who was with us down there in the Academy event, and she likes to say, "Fishing is fishing, and fishing is fun."
Yes,
I mean, at the end of the day, that's what it's all about.
It is so true.
Yeah.
And you don't have to have $1,000 rod to go out there and catch fish.
Right.
So, just getting outdoors and being involved in the outdoors, and you're not guaranteed to catch that fish, and that's what is the beauty of it. You're let down a lot of the times, but you walk away with something.
You learn something every time you go out, and
that's right.
That's why they call it fishing and not catching.
Exactly. Exactly.
Well, we were fortunate enough to do some catching on that down there in Jacksonville.
Angie, I was questioning my skills out there.
It was fun. Did you get to go offshore that first day?
No, I didn't.
Okay.
Yeah, so I was inshore both days.
Yep.
So
me too.
So I know the offshore girls, they wore them out,
Yeah,
so I'm sure if we would have had a chance to get offshore, we would have gotten into some fish. But that's one of those trips where I was walking away going, you know what, it's fishing, not catching. Even though we did catch fish, I kind of had my eyes set on like a redfish or something.
Well, I fortunately got to get into some reds on that first day.
You did. You got some good reds.
Yeah, that was a blast.
Well, I was just happy to see, all the girls who don't necessarily fish.
Mm-hmm.
Some of the girls there, they were catching and having fun, and that's what's important, because I mean, I would have loved to have been catching big reds out there, but I get to fish all the time, and this was something new for me, and so it was just the experience. I didn't have to have that giant red to walk away with not having a good experience. I was going to have a good experience no matter what.
Yeah, that's awesome. Did you have any trouble getting home? I know some of the...
Oh, yes, I did. Thankfully, I got on the only flight that was landing in the DFW that day, and I got the only seat available.
Oh, wow.
So, it was a packed flight, and it was a little dicey coming in on the landing, but was able to get home.
Yeah, I remember that was a little bit sketchy for some people, so I'm glad you were able to make it home.
And that just was that weather for Florida too.
Yeah.
We had some pretty chilly weather while we were there, and so I remember the guides, kind of being a little nervous about that because they weren't expecting that type of, temperature change either, and what it can do to the fishery. So.
Yep. Well, I was glad I picked out that Magellan Pro fleece the night before.
Thank goodness for good gear to keep us warm, right?
Exactly. Yeah, and I don't know how, like, Lauren went out day one in shorts.
In shorts.
I'm like, girl, you crazy.
Some girls are just tougher than me, and I can't be cold. That's my thing.
Me too. Yep, absolutely. Well, awesome. Well, I will put, like I said, link to Beaver's Bend Fly Shop in the show notes, and as well as Academy, of course, and NRS Fishing. And then you're on Instagram at the Book of Mo.
Yes, ma'am.
I will share that so people can follow along. And
awesome. I appreciate that.
Yeah, and thank you so much for taking some time to share a little bit with us about what you do and to be on the show. And I'm glad we finally made it happen. And I hope we get to fish together again sometime soon.
Me too. Me too. Thank you for having me and taking time out of your day to chat with me.